How your ability to make money is directly connected to your childhood patterns, your family dynamics, and your ability to feel safe in your body while you speak your truth. So, hello, my name is Joanna Fatonji. I am a certified life mastery consultant, and I have been on my healing and self discovery journey for over 10 years now. And in my work, I first became a nutritionist and then I studied everything around neuroscience, behavioral patterns, how to create new patterns, new identities in order to establish a life that you truly desire. And on that journey, I have made a lot of mistakes and failed a lot of times until I reached my own breaking point. And with breaking point, I mean the point where I got to the root of my own problems and also the solution. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. So, today I want to dive into identity work because this is what I'm focused on working with women entrepreneurs, helping them to make more money. So, let's start with your parents, as I said, your family patterns, and especially if your parents didn't give you the emotional support that a child needs. And I'm only going to focus on two things because it's not about blame, it's not about shaming our parents, but it's to identify if our core emotional needs were met. And two things are very important when it comes to emotional intelligence or emotional safety within the family structure. And the first thing is that you, as a child, had the safety to share all of your emotions, especially the heavy ones, the sadness, the anger, and the frustration, right? If you had a parent that could hold it without stopping you, without dismissing it, without saying, come on, get your act together. No, where you could feel safe just to be like, oh, your parent holds you and waits until it's over, soothes you, and that's fine. And the next time something happens, you can go back to your parent and just cry or be angry and be seen and witnessed in that emotion without getting canceled. That is the first thing. And the second thing is likewise, like as being seen in the deep emotions, it's about being seen and celebrated in the highest emotions, meaning your parents celebrating your successes, whether it is small, right? Like celebrating a piece of art or something you've done, you have created. Maybe you have been on stage or in academia, right? Or in school, you came with your degrees and your parents actively joining in with you and celebrating you, taking time to come see you with your sports activities and all of that, right? Like really feeling that your parents are in this game of life with you. And to be honest, most of us, we haven't had that. I certainly didn't have that. So that's why I probably became everything that I am today because I wanted to get to the root of why I couldn't sustain, especially the things that I love the most. And for me, it was always performing and being seen and being applauded and being celebrated for the things that I did or speaking up for things. And today in my work as a coach, that's exactly what I do. Like I love to be seen, but come with a message that it empowers everybody who joins in. So I want to dive deeper into the the connection between your emotions and your ability to make money, right? So basically, it is about feeling safe around the people that are closest to you to be all of you. And this is where the whole topic of I don't feel enough right? I don't feel like I'm enough comes from, like, because you couldn't express or be witnessed and celebrated and held in the extremes, right? The sadness and the anger and also the celebration, both is at the end of the spectrum. And the rest of the emotions are somewhere in the middle here. But these are the things that we really need to be held in. Otherwise, we self sabotage. So, this is what we needed from our parents to be all of us. And when you didn't have that, you feel, I feel like you feel three main emotions. And the first one is shame, right? Shame for crying or shame for being angry. I mean, really ask yourself, because most people, boys and girls, men and women, are shamed for these feelings. Sometimes, depending on your parents, as a woman, it's more acceptable to cry. But if there's nobody to regulate you, then you also don't cry as a girl in your household. So I believe that many of us, and when I speak about us, I speak about women of the global majority, we didn't necessarily have a household where we could openly cry and be held in that. That's just my personal experience, and also with the people in my network and also clients that I've worked with. The next feeling is guilt, right? Shame is really the lowest level. There's a, like, the scale of emotions by, what is his name, Hawkins something, and shame is really the lowest frequency, the lowest vibration. So feeling shame for your emotions, for your vulnerability, is really, really bad. So the next one is guilt, right? Feeling guilty because we want more. Because if you never get that core desire met, and that is being seen and held and soothed and supported in your deepest shame or in your deepest pain, you want it, you need it. It's like a plant that needs the nutrients from the deepest part of the soil. That's just how we are as humans. We need that. And then if we don't get it, everything that I'm talking about is happening subconsciously. So when we don't get that, there's still something in us that desires it. And if we still desire it and we don't get it, we obviously want more. We want more love from our parents, and we all know that feeling. Like, we want more attention, more love. There's this desire, this desire for more. Like, I can really tap into it because this feeling is very active in me. That's why I came to also come on here and share that with you in a little different setting today. And I'm probably going to make more videos from this point because it feels so cozy and I feel held, right? Instead of in my area, in my office area. But yeah, a little side note. But again, the next feeling is feeling guilty for wanting more. And the last one I want to address today is the fear to fully get outcasted when we speak our truth, right? Do you see how it's all connected? It's the shame for actually showing up in your emotions. Because if your parents have said, hey, that's like, stop crying, or like, stop it, or it's not important, or something like, yeah, 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 like dismissing yourself, right? Dismissing it, then you feel shame for doing it again. Lowest emotion. Then you feel guilty for wanting more. You need more. And you feel guilty for it. So you stop asking for more. And then you feel fear to be fully abandoned, to be fully outcasted, because you still show up speaking your truth and telling what it is that you need. And these are the exact patterns that resurface in business, in negotiations, in price setting as an entrepreneur. And again, let's make another example. We feel shame even having the desire to express ourselves, right? Whether it is the pain and the crying, or the anger, because especially as women, many times we're so angry or we feel so much pain because we are like underpaid or we are not treated as well as we desire to be, right? There is a feeling of shame for expressing our emotions. It's culturally. And we don't do that if we are, even if we're being done wrong, right? We feel shame for wanting to express our deepest, heaviest emotions. Then we feel guilty when we know that we want more, like higher prices, better conditions, right? We somehow there's a feeling of guilt. And then the fear, like we are afraid to actually speak up and speak our truth in terms of money, negotiations, conditions, things like that, because we think that we are going to be fully abandoned when we show up. And again, all of these patterns are the patterns that we had like subconsciously thought that this is the way it works for us. This is the way we get our needs met or we do not get our needs and wants met. And this is exactly what we carry into our careers and our entrepreneurship in any kind. So that's why I focus on the root. I always say I like to focus on the root work, the identity work, and especially the nervous system. As I said, I am like trained by a Harvard level professional in neuroscience, and really understanding how what you think and especially how you feel, and it's one. I always like to say that extra. Our brain and our nervous system is connected. It's one organism, right? So what we think and especially how we feel about getting our needs met and letting emotions flow, right? Letting emotions flow, being sad, being angry. It doesn't mean that you have to show up in front of everybody like that, but allowing it to yourself and maybe even the necessary person in front of you. Yes. So allowing that to flow, no longer being blocked by shame. But also, and another very, all of these 3 points are so important. Shame, not feeling shame for feeling heavy emotions, and then guilt, right? Not feeling guilty to want more in life, to want to be seen, to want to be heard, to want to be paid, to want to be to get something, right? Because you want to be nourished by life, right? By your parent, or like you need something, you do, right? And not feel guilty about it. And then the fear, which is a big one, another big one, the fear of fully getting abandoned, outcasted, thrown out of the group, right? People completely dismissing you because you want too much. You are too much, too emotional, too problematic. People will also call you problematic when you're angry, right? Or when you cry. And being too problematic and having those high expectations, many people will also try to bring you down a notch, right? And then we block ourselves thinking that, oh my God, I'm afraid to rock the boat even more because I'm then probably fully getting outcasted, like thrown out of the group. And thrown out of the group to our primal mind means death because we need the group to survive. And all of these things happen subconsciously. But I really want to make the to show how much how your emotional needs were met or not met in your childhood have an impact on you creating a business, relationships, of course, because everything is relationship. Everything is relationship. You showing up, creating relationship, sharing your prices, sharing yourself, sharing your expertise, sharing your truth. All of that is connected to how how safe you felt when you were a child with your parents. And now that's the last thing. The thing is, even though those patterns got integrated in us when we were children, many times they are still operating right now with our parents. If your parents are still alive, many times in the presence of our parents, but then also in other situations, because our mother many times represents our relationship with other women, and the relationship with our father represents the relationship with the outside world, with other men, with money. And depending on how safe we feel with the feminine and the masculine, with the mother and the father, those dynamics play out again and again, even if you're in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, and beyond. So it's very important to go to the root and dismantle those childhood needs, emotional needs, and see if they were met. If you could show up in your deepest, heaviest emotion, or if you could show up in your celebration, in your expertise, in your greatness, in your joy. Or again, was there nobody that cared for that? Very, very important to ask yourself that. So if you want to take that deeper and really get supported in your wealth identity creation, and also sharpen your business strategy depending on where you are, I invite you to join the Wealth Architect, my signature program that helps you exactly that, transform from the version of your life that you're currently in to creating the wealth identity, the version of yourself that is able to show up, be seen, be heard in your truth, and also attract the wealth, the clients, the work, and hold that energy without collapsing back into a feeling of being too much. You can't do this. That's not who you are. So if you're ready to finally step into that identity that can make the change that you're here to make in this world, I invite you to sign up. You find the links down below in the description box. I'm looking forward to your application. And I want you to know that you are a force of nature. And I'm looking forward to see you act like it.